Hi, this is Vishal. Now we are on the second session of the test-driven development in a Kotlin. So as we know that we are making the sessions that already built in Java, and for the theory part you must learn from there, and for the practical I'm making the videos here. So as we have done the first part, JUnit 4, and that already appreciated with many users. So thanks so much for that. And here today we built testing that's on the based Mockito. So the Mockito that's also be a very good testing development. And here that means a tool. So here we are making a Mockito testings and in a Kotlin. So little bit difference that how we can work with the Mockito and how we can test our mutable live data, our methods, our repositories from there. So that's all we have to know about this today. And first we have to learn that what be the mock, what be the spy. So little bit theory I'm discuss here, and the rest of the part you need to study from my Java session of the Mockito. So here below I put the link so you can learn from there. So what is a mock? So whenever we work with the Mockito, so here you can learn three important terms that is called your mock, spy and stub. So first is a mock. Mock means it is a dummy piece of a code that you verify is called correctly as a part of the test. So that means it's your dummy part. So whenever you do testing, you can use your mock values. So I will show you how. Then for the real methods you have to work with, that is called your spy. So whenever you call the real piece of code, so that's your spy. Dummy piece, that's mock. And whenever we say stub means a dummy piece of the code that lets the test run, but you don't care about what happens to it. So that means stubbing. So whenever you work with the Mockito, and that means it gives something to you, so that's be a complete stubbing part. So these important features we know about that, and this unit test rules that swaps the background executor used by the architecture components with a different one with execute each task synchronously. So I already described these things in Java sessions, so must learn from there. So here you need to start it from that means again I say the mock means that's not real. So authentic Mockito annotations before hitting the keyboard to write applications and unit test. Okay, so here we have to learn from the mock and the spy methods. So at mock and spy annotations we have to work how in Kotlin that's little differ. Okay, and that's already I described what is a mock. Mock is a fake object, and a spy that we work from a real. Okay, so that means if you have simple classes, two classes, so whenever you call a new constructor and this kind of stuff you call it in the real, so that's your spy. But whenever you make it a fake, so that's called your mock. We'll describe you one by one. And one more thing that I want to show that's I already described in my um, other sessions, that's the test. Add test, whenever you work with the add test as we have done in JUnit 4 part 1, so there that's called in which we have to work like and cross check the things using assert equals, assert true, assert false. So these things, okay, before and after you already learn, and if you do not know about that you must learn it from my Java sessions. Okay, so these things, and uh, so it's a little differ. Yeah, so practically I will describe you what is the when, do return and then return. So that's an important part. Whenever you work with the mock, we need a when is used to configure simple return behavior. Okay, spy or mock both. Do return is used whenever you want to return the specific values when calling a methods on the mock object. Okay, but it's good whenever you work with the spy, so it gives you the exact result. And then return, that means it is good, and but we mocked it, and it just like the same as do return, but the difference is that means then return is not be as much as good as a do return do. Okay, we'll describe you what is that exactly. So here, and the last is your do nothing, and that will describe it in my other sessions also what we have to done, but today we have to work with this. Okay, and here we are with Kotlin, so here you can use it your 2.19 I'm using here, so depends on your version. So first is important thing is you need a core, then you need a inline. Why inline? Because of that is the most important thing, and if you see many users create an issue related to this, because there is issues that be for the final classes, anonymous, primitive types, other issues, so like Mockito cannot mock or spy. So this kind of terms, whenever you work with your testing, it be gives you error. Okay, so what to do? You just simply use org.mockito inline, so it can inline the things. Okay, no any makeup file, that means in all the approaches we put it the text file be there on the folder, so do not need of that. You just use the same version here as you version be used for the core. Okay, so the same version you have to use for the inline, otherwise it always be give you an issue that it cannot be accessed with the final or other classes. Okay, so the rules runners that already we defined in last unit 4, and the most important is test implementation. So here you use Android's Arc Core testing 2.1.0 for the executing the rules or testing we need it. And inline implementation is for many users have an issue as I describe you, so that's you have to work with the inline. Okay, so that's important thing, and here we have to discuss about the do return and then return differences practically. Okay, so let's start it and write the studio how we can implement this kind of test. Okay, so let's start in Android Studio. Here you can see that we need some dependencies, that's important, that's within all dependency unit 4 Mockito, and that's the important dependencies we are Mockito core and Mockito inline, that's the most important. And your core testing, because sometimes it gives an error, so we need it. And the rules for the rules, because of for mutable live data we need such kind of rule on that, which we'll describe in practically. Okay, so these things we need it, and then we go for the main activity, no need of that. I'm just making a different class, different Kotlin class, that's your repository. That means it comes data from your web services or whatever be. So later we'll describe in coming session how we can use the retrofit with this repository, and that within your view model. Okay, so first we have to work with simple repository, and I'm giving the name of repository. So here in this file we have many things. We can say that you can also be use your models, cross check the models, but never work any calculations in your models. Okay, you just use a different classes as I describe these things in a clean architecture. So but here I'm just talking about the class repository. So here we have a class repository, and here I'm making a function fun get data. Okay, and in this it's simple return type I'm making as a string type. That means it is returning a string, and that return string is your hello. Okay, so that's I'm testing with this is a basic test. Maybe your many functions created by this like this we have a parameterized mutable live data. I will describe you one by one. And here you can say that you have to go for a repository test, so that means go to the test and create a new test, and whenever it created it's show to you the repository test, and this is your JUnit 4. So the important part is it's a JUnit 4 because of we have used a different architecture, but okay, under the your JUnit 4 we are doing the testing. So here no need of setup, but if you want then you can use it, uh, but otherwise we needed that get data. Okay, so say okay, and then it created. But here the last time in unit 4 what we have done with the Android test Java, but it is a different architecture, so we need a separate test Java. Okay, so here we have to create a different folder, that is the new test folder we have to create for the Mockito. So use it, and default JUnit test we are working with the Android test because we get all the rules, all the data be there, but here we need it for this test. Okay, so here it's a very simple, so it can make a data here. So now we have to start our repository test B here for the first test for the Mockito. Okay, so what to do for the first test? You need a mock. So first we need to call this let init var, and here I'm using the repository, so this is your simple repository be here. So here first we have to create a mock. So mock is what? That is your that false value, or we can say that that is a dummy object or dummy value be there in which we have to check our function. Okay, and the spy is always be work with your real values of the function. So how we can test? So first we have to need this, you can say that you can directly call it, or otherwise the best way, if you get an issue you can make first this Mockito dot what you want, mock or spy, so you can walk it. So simple say mock. Okay, and this is your repository, and here this is your class Java. Okay, so that means it's your initializations, or you can call it directly, so if there is no issue, but it's good if you work be like this. And now we have to go with when Mockito when. Okay, so here that means what you need it. I want a repository dot get data, but I want that data according to my dummy value. So my dummy is hello. So at this time I am making the same dummy as I put it the returning value on the repository. Then I change that value. Okay, and here I think it's you know that what is the src equals true, so it's good. First you have to learn it, and if you are new you must watch my Java sessions in which I have clear all the things, all the basic things. Okay, so here I'm say this my value and this repository dot get data value. Okay, so that's you have to check whether it gives you a right test or the wrong. Okay, so this is a basic test for the mock. So we need as an emotion for this. So first we check it on the animation. Okay, so let's see, it gives you the get data test pass. Okay, when you run it on emulator. And here if you want with the your mock value be hello one, and then run this the test, run get data, and then see what happened with this. So it gives you test fail because of there is expected one is hello and your dummy data gives you hello one. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so let's see the result be here. You can see this is your comparison failure, and this is your hello and hello one. So this is your first basic mock test uh, as a simple mock, that is your dummy, and simple mock repository class for that and particular values. So now how we can create a spy for returning the exact value or your real value data. Okay, so let's see now. Okay, for spy, that means for call the real value, you can make this a spy repository, and this is your spy, that's for the real values, and you can do it with okay, so that's your, and here you can say repository, that means whenever you work with that is return, and that's your get data, so that's your real value of the, okay, and you can check it with this spy. So but sometimes what happen that whenever you use this Mockito when then return, it not gives satisfactory answers for the real or a mock. So the best way we have to work with the do return. So we'll show you after this. First we check the test behavior for the spy. So whenever you work with your real values or real objects or real uh, instances, classes, your functions, you work with spy. But if you want to test that your dummy data be right or wrong, so you use a mock. So that's the simple of spy and mock functionality. And stubbing is that's this work, whatever be the process be going on. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so you sometimes you can find that there's an error with the Mockito whenever you get data from the real values for the spy. So it's a better way you have to work with the do return. Sometimes it gives you uh, exact value, sometimes it gives you an error, depends. So it is not a good way or good approach whenever you work with your real values or real methods whenever you get that return. Okay, so it's a good to go for a do return that I show to you how we can work with this. Okay, so let's see the example for the do return. So first we do for the mock, and I'm making a mock and just say mock. Okay, so here just hide this part and do the new test Mockito, and you can do it as a do return. Okay, so do return always give the accurate values, and if there is something with your real and you make a mock, so it gives you a null value. So see it here. So Mockito do return, and in do return I'm using that, I'm testing for the repository dot get data. Okay, and for repository get data that gives you when. Okay, so whenever you work with the when, so here I'm using any test, just say hello, and this here just copy paste for the assert equals, and you can test your mock value. But I don't go with this because it just be time wasting. You just try that, and here I'm using the mock value with your real object which I want to show to you. So that's, this is your repository dot get data. Okay, but most important thing is we are doing mistake here. This is the most important thing that I want to describe you, that whenever you work with this repository dot get data, you need this bracket, because of otherwise it gives an issue. Mostly this kind of wrong values we pass it, so it gives you an error always, and you can hang on that why this error comes. So we have to provide it the right value with the brackets. Okay, so this is your repository inside the bracket always, it's not call it as a directly with repository dot get data. That means this is your one functionality for that particular repository. Okay, so now we have to check it whether it gives you the values or not, right values or not for the real data. This is called your real, but we're making in mock. So let's see what it gives to you. Okay, so here you can see that it's give you null value, actual value be null. Because of whenever you want to create a mock for the real object or real data, it always gives you the null. But whenever you work with the one return, it gives you sometimes the hello one or hello. That means it can create a confusion that whether it is with the right or the wrong sometimes. So you have to choose always do return for the good testing. Okay, so just for simple mock or simple values testing, you can use the one return, that means then return. But always you have to work with your do return, that is the most important, and mainly use method whenever you work with the real object. Now the same thing I'm making for the spy, so it gives you the accurate value for the spy. Okay, nothing changes, just simply I am using the spy instead of mock. Okay, and then run this. Okay, you can see that it's give you a get data test pass. So that means whenever you work with the spy, use always the do return. Now we have to move on the second function, that is the parameterized. And if I'm making a repository, and here the second function be like fun and add string, and I want to pass the name one, the same basic test, and this is your string. And in the future I will show you how we can work with your complicated methods uh, from your, that means as an array list, or whenever you pass something for your adapters. So a lot of things with there. Okay, and here you can say where name is equals to name 1 plus name 2, and here you have to return something name. Okay, so this is your simple function that we need for the repository test. So here just hide it and make call for this. So here what to do, you just again use this Mockito dot do return, and here your repository dot add string, and here you have to add something just like say uh, okay, this is your Vishal, and here you can put the k. Okay, and here I want to make it as a do return dot when value, and here for the when we can again use this repository and dot add string value be what be the real value it gives to you, Vishal comma k. If you want to use the different, it can return it different. And here you can use that test pass be here if you want to be a Vishal k, or if you want to be the k1 or k2, it's give the error. And here you can use it as the same expectations whatever we needed for the search equal. Okay, so now we have to run this and check what happened. Okay, so if you see the results, it gets your data. That's we are fine testing. This is your parameterized function. So if there be a complex functions like your, whether you call it from the retrofit, whether it be your mutable live data complexities, so we can solve it by the we can test it by this. Okay, so today I'm again testing one more testing show to you, that's for a simple mutable live data, how you can work for the mock and the spy, and rest we will make some other day, that is more complexities, just your recycler views, adapters, and other mutable live data, complex values, how you can get it, just your array list. So we can test it some other day for the mock. And now just see the last one, that's your mutable. And for more theory related to this, again I am say that you have to work with Java session. I provide the link. Okay, so now what to do for testing for the repository? Go to the repository and you can make a simple variable for mutable live data, and that is your mutable live data, and this kind of be I want for the string, and that's your mutable live data. Okay, so this is a very simple repository. And now what to do? We have to go for a simple public function, or you can say it's your getter or whatever be. So this is your mutable, and you can work with like this, maybe mutable live data, and this for your string, and you have to return that with your mutable live data, and mutable live data dot your value is hello. Okay, so you just cross check it. And for the repository test, what to do with Mockito, just hide it first, and here we have to create a mock. But here one more thing, because of whenever we work with the mutable live data and we initialize it, so some rules be apply in it. So that is called your instant task rules. But first we check the error. What's the error be here if we don't use the rule? Okay, so for this what to do? First we have to create a mock. Okay, so this is a simple mock I'm creating. This is our mock, and now for this we have to create the simple mock. So we have to make a simple mutable live data, and that is your mutable live data for the string kind, and mutable live data dot value is equals to, if you want to change you can change it, otherwise a simple hello. Okay, and okay, just check it with the hello one. Okay, first, and now this is your simple Mockito. First I'll show to you using a when, then we go with the do return. So this is your when, and this is the get data mutable. Okay, and this is your then return, and I want to return simple our mutable live data of this mocking, that means dummy data. Okay, that gives you hello one. And here if this is your search equal, so we can go with hello, and this is your mutable live data dot value, so we can check it which value be here. So this a simple mutable live data mocking. Okay, and now uh, first we check it's whether it's working or not, because of without rule it gives some issue. So that issue is what we can run that and see. Okay, so here it's give you the runtime exception, that's called your get main looper. This is not mocked, so that means there be some instantiate task execution error or other errors may be built. So whenever you work with a mutable, we need some rule. So for this kind of rule, first you have to make at rule, and make it a simple, or otherwise if you want to use the JVM field, so you can use that. Okay, if there be some kind of error, otherwise not an issue, you use only rule for that. So this is a public val rule, and you can see that this is your instant task execution rule. Okay, so that's the most important rule whenever you work with this mutable live data. Rest I already described in the Java session. And some other day I will describe you why this kind of rules. That means whenever you testing be here to at start, it gives you the instant executions. So this kind of executions be, that means initializations or task executions, so we need it for that. So some other day will describe it, but here just simply say we need the rule whenever you work with the mutable live data for this testing. Okay, so now we can test it again, what it gives to us. Okay, so here you can see that it's working, but here the comparison be different. We have a hello and gives you a hello one, but here when you use the hello, it gives to the test pass. Okay, so let's see what be the value on clicking this here. So whenever you work with this kind of a repository, it gives you test fails or your test pass when you make your mock with that. Okay, so here I'm mocking with your simple mutable live data. So it works, and sometimes you work with directly to the functions on your repository. So I will show you. Then in that cases we have to make a spy. Okay, so here we can see that, here you can see that this is the instantiating the task test. Okay, so this is called your instant task execution rules. For that we need it sometimes, and if not getting this rules, so that means it gives you an error. We'll describe you more briefly some other day what be the result on that. So here it fetches the data and get what whether the test pass or not. You can see that, and here the test is pass. It show to you now. Just wait for a minute. Okay, so here it show to test passed. Now what happen when you use a spy? And I told you whenever you work with the spy, you have to work with your do return, because of it gives you exact values for that. It never gives you some dummy or others or null values be there. Okay, so do return is most important. So now we have to work with the Mockito do return, and here we have to copy paste it, and that be your get mutable data mutable. Okay, and you have to work with when, that means a mock, and here we needed a repository dot I want with the mutable live data value be here, and just copy paste that value for a result. Okay, so let's see what be the assert equals be there for the real data, but here it is a mock. Okay, so first we have to check what be the value for the mock, so accordingly it gives the result for mock value. So as we are working with the real data, and it gives you the null pointer exception then. Okay, and must again I remind you that must check the bracket here, because of repository you have to make a bracket on whenever you work with the do return, otherwise it gives you issue. Okay, and now we have to go with simple spy, make it a spy for the real object, because of whenever you work with the spy, and now it gives you the value, because of for the mock it always give you the null for the real values. So that is the difference whenever you work with the do return and one then return, because of then return sometimes give you the value. Okay, mock value. So now again run that and see the result. Okay, so you can see that it gives you the value get data, because of when work with the real values it gives you the hello, and it gives you the hello with the expectations according to you. So the test failed because of it is a spy, and when we work do return it gives you the accurate value. So for the repository if you change it, it gives you the test fail error for the spy, and but for the mock it always give you the null. Okay, but whenever you work with the when and then return it gives you some value. So that means I again say that Whenever you work with the real objects, real values, you need to use do return whenever you use the mock. Okay, and test it like this. So this is a simple example, and it is a simply just conversion of the Java session of the Mockito. Okay, so that was my second session on the Java, and now I make uh, easy for you for the Kotlin for the practical, and you have to practice on this. We'll give you the more sessions, and first we have to cover the basics of the TDD, then we go for the more complex again on Java and with conversions of the Kotlins. Okay, so there are many more sessions on the TDD we shall discuss in coming time. So thank you so much for the day. Thanks a lot.